going to move straight on to Adriana.
Okay.
Thank you, Adriana. Your performance and poetry.
I am. I'm gonna let this one speak for itself, and y'all will understand why once I get into it. But the title is Paradox People, and the definition of paradox for the people: a seemingly absurd or self-contradictory statement or proposition that, when investigated or explained, may prove to be well-founded or true. So that is who we are, and that is what this piece is based off of. I'm a walking, talking contradiction. But guess what? So are you. So is the sun. So is the moon. Light and darkness. Greatness and gloom. Balance. What you need in order to properly breathe. Step outside yourself to see that both joy and pain are needs. Hard to believe because our blindness takes over. Narcissistic ambitions, we're told, makes us stronger. Lies. Did you know that lots of wealthy people suffer in silence? Money's not the cure for mental despondence. So what is? The answer is the one no one likes. The one that makes you lie, cheat, steal, commit crimes, reenact abuse you learn from family ties, generational, mental, verbal, physical, sexual, spiritual, habitual abandonment of young and old. The one that makes you argue, shame, pick fights. The part that makes you think you have to drink every night, smoke blunts every day without a minute spent sober, do lines of cocaine to present yourself as bolder, using syrup, meth, or heroin as a means of escape, seeking numbness from the oxyperks or Xannies you take, fentanyl you try, embalming fluid you dip, on the cigarette you puff, inviting poison to your lips. The cause for endless spending to appear like you got it. Rock the latest labels while your bills are forgotten. The reason why you had to have a second bag of chips, honey bun and M&Ms, soda, extra dip. In addition to the Chick-fil-A you ordered on demand because going in or driving through was more than you could stand. Avoiding the mirror, accepting your fate after rejection from doctors for drugs to lose weight. Makeup, dental care, hair care, lip care, skin care, plastic bodies. Is a real person in there? Addicted due to the chemicals injected in it all, designed to keep you insecure, sick, and blind to the cause. The FDA, Big Pharma, charities like American Red Cross, the NRA, and hospitals are all involved. The sick care system getting paid from every angle, with marketing campaigns designed to blame you. Drawn to music with no feeling, described as vibes, provoking you to party, sex, and drug till you die, persuading you against yourselves, women versus guys, driving you to hate if they're trans, gay, or bi. Then, when asked for a reason, you never really know why. You just repeat what you heard while being hypnotized. No time for thought or logic. That's lame and outdated. So is education. If there's substance, you hate it. Can't repeat the lyrics from most of your favorites. If it's shedding light on truth, a hippie or slave must have made it. Blinking through confusion after hours on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. You're controlled by a psyop that pushes you to binge TV apps and games, depleting you of focus and control of your brain. Religious views used to promote division, distorting its purpose to suit personal visions. Little do they know that if they took the time to look, there are many similarities to every text and book. They omit details disproving what's been pushed as facts as a means to keep you from discovering that science, numerology, magic, divination, nature, meditation are all God's language. When they mention the devil and say you're going to hell, remind them that the devil created himself, a fallen angel, who fell from grace by making wrong choices in sacred space. All people are accepted, no matter who they love, no matter where they come from. Dividing came from us as a means to divert us, all based on class. All the different isms are based on caste, designed by a few power hungry elites to keep us in the dark behaving like sheep. No, this isn't judgment, just conscious observation of all the different methods used to keep us from facing ourselves as a whole instead of fragile broken pieces, determined to distract ourselves from slowing down to see it. The root of our affliction stemmed from wounds that never healed due to lack of guidance on how to really deal. We were told to be strong. Don't think about it. Don't cry. Do your best not to feel it and you will get by. Don't talk about the pain. That's nobody's business. Lessons from our friends, caregivers, and kindred who don't mean any harm. They're only stating what they're taught, which is why it's so important not to look for blame or fault. Spinning wheels of avoidance and missing the keys to unlocking the treasure of who we're meant to be. It starts with understanding who we really are inside, loving every facet so we don't have to hide, looking at our darkness as a passageway through the necessary tunnels to achieve the best view of us as individuals and us as a people, dirty and clean, transformations and breakthrough, learning from loss instead of living resentful, paying the cost to reassemble your temple, amend your transgressions, mitigate aggression, eradicate the cycle so our future is protected, educate the children on the truth so they get it. Let them learn from your life so you don't regret it. Let me be the guinea pig. I want to motivate change. I once was a prisoner. My mind was a cage, morbidly obese, suicidal, dark, unable to feel, shattered in parts, witnessed and was molested at 8, 9, and 10, 11, bipolarity and disassociating. Early teens, I attempted to take a life, then tried and tried my own, but I never did it right. Inappropriately touched a younger child, knew it was wrong and carried that guilt for miles. Stole with pride, manipulated, lied, was a cutter, binge eater, fantasized my demise. Cigarettes, drinking, all day smoking weed, skipping school, moved out by 17. Never was like the crowd, so I lived outside. Anything not black, I hid inside. Pop wasn't really around at the time. Mom was distant, depressed, and beat by a guy she chose every time. Loved to read and write, but other subjects I struggled. Didn't know ADHD was the source of my trouble. Graduated, worked, still tried to fit in. Hood stereotypes and codependence until I chose distance. Got a real friendship that taught me the real. Began a new ascension. Lost the weight. Started traveling, then mentally unraveling, and got to the point where I started battling all my coping mechanisms that no longer worked. Got tired of faking like it all didn't hurt. Always knew that I was different. Always felt like a fraud. Every wrong turn I took, I knew were facades. I lied when I started, said I got in therapy for drugs, but knew all along what it really was. I had to get to know the real me inside that, due to abuse, stepped aside. I carried all my faults and knew I was depressed, but everything else, little me, repressed. I just started learning how to feel blocked emotions when I learned the harsh truths that broke me open. Got a psych evaluation that opened that door. A month later, went manic, spent a week on the fifth floor. That doubled as awakening, Kundalini style. That's when I learned my purpose and made the vows I'm keeping now. Divinely guided by God with many spiritual gifts, designated to be used for moments like this. I never would have known if I didn't choose to learn. Yes, it was a lot, but it forced me to earn every bit of my light. I choose to shine right now to help others like me who don't know how. Others like me who think they're unlovable, incapable of changing, doomed to do what others do. See themselves as demons but angelic inside. Think that due to their past, they're forever forced to hide, unable to see the best of themselves, whose misguided actions are desperate cries for help. I'm a living, breathing testimony. But guess what? So are you. If you choose to do the hard work to become your best you.
Amazing.
That was so good. That was so deep. Like it changed from like deep topics to other deep topics, and like I was like, oh my gosh, the whole time. Yeah, that was really powerful. That was really powerful.
I took notes. Yeah, I literally was here, pencil in hand, and I'm like, oh no, rock the latest label while your bills are forgotten. Science, meditation, divination, God language. I'm like, oh, okay. But you know what really stuck out to me? It was a part you talked about, the real me inside stepped aside. And I'm thinking like self, like, man, yeah, how many times do we do that when something gets too much for us, right?
Especially as children. You have no idea. That was the wildest thing. I had always heard about repression and kids doing that, but never thought that I was capable or that could have happened to me. And lo and behold, that was legit my story. I didn't know half of that until like a year and a half ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
but worth it. Worth it.
It made me think about something Victoria said in Right About Now. It was myself, Victoria, and I Am I. And it fits in beautifully. I'll be posting it next week, but it fits in beautifully with your piece, Adriana, because she was saying that she feels like she spent her whole life trying to get back to herself. That all that trauma made herself, like you expressed and I just highlighted, like go to the side, and then it's trying to heal to actually return back into yourself. And I love the way, because you literally hit every vice that exists. Adriana listed them all.
But no, I have to talk about this and this and this. And it wasn't me. It wasn't just me. I was definitely divinely guided writing this thing, man. No, you talk about everything and you tell them the truth. Okay.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
What it made me think about was in the way that you did that made me think, look how deeply, can you imagine what it takes for us in this society to actually be self, in the highest spiritual way? When you drop it like that, one thing after another, after another, after another, after another, after another, I'm just thinking, how many of them have I got going on? What do I need to delete? Because I know that through deleting it, it's going to bring me back to a better sense of self, spiritual self. But we're in a society as well, I think, where it's all right. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, it's all right. Yeah. But you never get to see your full spiritual self that way, do you? Because there's always something holding you back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also, I was talking to Mom about this, actually, that this week I've been kind of bombarded with images of consumerism. I watched a movie and they were talking about consumerism, and then I read my book and it was talking about consumerism, and I talked to Mom about it because I bought something recently, and then the minute I got it I was like, oh, on to the next, and I was like, hold on, that's not a good way of thinking about things. Now I've got something, now I immediately want something else. And when you were talking about all the things and then ended up linking it to big pharma and the health things, that's those things, they kind of make you feel like you need all these things in your life and that you need these things to be who you are or to fit in with people. But it's just a way for them to kind of get the money from you, and it doesn't really matter what's happening with yourself if you feel distant from who you actually are. It's as long as they're getting that money off you, then they're winning. And yeah, especially I've been talking to mom about that a lot, like plastic surgery, especially about how it's like all that money that people are spending, and it could go on like donating it to help other people. Like there's so many other places it could go to. But yeah, that was so many topics, as mom said. There was so many.
If more people your
100%.
age bracket think like you, will be just fine. Because you got it. You absolutely got it. I'm happy that you got it. That's awesome. I think we'll be okay. There's enough of you guys out there that will be just fine.
Future's in
I'm
good
thankful mom
hands.
raised me this way.
Yes.
We have deep conversations on the daily.
We won't go there. And it's the village that we talked about before. You know, the village. I'd love to say, yes, it's all me, but it's not. You know, she's got cousins, female. I was saying earlier to my friend, actually, around that vanity thing and the craziness of the vanity of modern society, you know. And I was saying that Omae doesn't and Millie don't have that about them, because they're cousins, my nieces, all of them are high achievers academically and career. Like the couple that aren't doing the academics, they're doing apprenticeships and things like that. You know, they've got their heads on, they're naturally beautiful, they're not augmenting themselves in any way. So I think they're probably more influential than, obviously, me as mom. I'm influential. But I think when they look to their older cousins who are like in their early 20s and early 30s, what they see is inspiring. So that helps to keep their heads on.
Absolutely. All right, Tone, what you got?
I do know.
Cause kindred spirits, what you got?
But you know, of course they already said it, because the fact that you did go into so many different topics, but you kind of threw me for a loop. You grabbed my attention when you went into the whole health thing or whatever. I was like, oh yeah, that was good. But then when you went into the whole games on the app, I felt like you was talking directly to me. Like, dang, I do be on that game too much. But it was good, because we Sister Caroline said, we don't realize how many of these things we fall into, right? So if you think that you might have it all together, like, yo, you good, like, yeah, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, and I don't drink, so you know what I'm saying? Or like, I don't watch movies so much, so like, I'm good. But you may be scrolling too much, or be hooked on games, or just eating unhealthy, or just something as simple as just not taking 15 minutes in the morning to meditate or to stretch out your body or whatever, is just as bad as sitting on the phone and scrolling. You know what I'm saying? So I love so many different levels of that poem. So many different levels. I love all your poems, of course, but this one kind of seemed like it was like a finale type of poem, like a poem to like close out a chapter or a book or something, like, you know, like as a whole. You know what I'm saying? So, but I felt like it spoke to me too. It spoke to me like, yes, I do want to be more relaxed with myself, and I do want to, but at the same time, like, don't get too complacent, don't get too relaxed. There's still things that you can easily get distracted in, quote unquote, like loving yourself, because it could be loving yourself. I need to be more lenient with myself, and you know what I'm saying, I could take a break, and then taking a break leads into, I find myself playing this game a little bit more than I should, and you know what I'm saying. So I love that poem for so many different reasons, but it's
I appreciate it.
Omae, do you have anything to add? Thank you, Cynthonia.
No problem.
I'll just add that, like, even with the notes I took, it still wasn't enough to be able to get the whole thing. I think it's another one, like you said about Minds, where it's on the rewatch where I'll be able to get the depth of what she was saying, because Sister Adriana was dropping it for sure.
Thank you, Omae. it really made, on reflection, listening to everybody's comments as well, it brought me the feeling after you read it, during it and after, was chaos. And what Cynthonia just said as well reminded me that it's like the balance of trying. I don't know if anybody else ever feels this way, but you can be doing really well as well with these things. But it's like that quest for perfection, that quest to get there, to do it right. And then this is what goes through my mind, right? And then it's like, what am I doing to my vibration with this now? Because now I'm in guilt and shame because I haven't meditated this morning. Oh no. And then I should be meditating. You know, that's the, I can have a daily battle with that sometimes.
I think we all do. I think this was the purpose of this was to be it was supposed to be a mirror, but it's also to kind of give you that leeway of understanding as long as you're trying, you're okay. But be conscious of these outside forces that push you to distraction. Like in your case, like you've been struggling a lot with, you know, personal life, personal stuff. And that sort of thing can get in the way. Or with the games, like one game turns into 10 games and you're on it for 4 hours. That's by design. And once you start to pay attention to that piece of it, like that with the socials, that with the food and ads and all of those things, that's when you start to kind of reel yourself in and really realize what's important. And that's how you can, for lack of better words, get outside of yourself to really see yourself and understand what it is that you can control and what you can't. And release that weight that doesn't belong to you, because it doesn't. A lot of it doesn't. We carry a lot of weight that does not belong to it, and we could just give it back. And it will give us a lot of release. That is definitely something that I've personally been working through, and it's worked wonders, truthfully.
So what have you been doing to work through it?
Man, so well, you and I know, like we kind of vibe on the metaphysical side of things. There's a lot of that's been going on, like a lot of that, not like a lot of things that just will probably make sense later, but just releasing and making sense of things. Like I'm moving in less than a month. I think I brought that up with y'all a while ago. I'm quitting the job has already got the notice, you know what I mean? I'm going into completing my book and putting out this information because this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be that person that says the things that other people don't say. Like, I realize that a lot of what I say, most people would be like, yo, that's too much. What do you know what I mean? But somebody has to be first. Somebody has to be the one that shows you that it's nothing to be ashamed of if you've done the work to work through it. Now, if you're like someone who just sits in that and decides that that's your life, then the karma that you receive, it is what it is. But if you are like me and just know that you are something different, that what your actions aren't reflecting who you are, and you do the work to find out who you are, you will get there. And the universe will help you. I think that's the easiest way I could think to describe it. That's been the work for sure. That's what's pulled me out of me as of late.
Wowzers.
Yeah, man.
That's superb.
Yeah.
And I think this group is a reflection. I think we're all helping to facilitate each other's growth.
Absolutely. We definitely in alignment. I wanted to point that out too. Like, it's interesting how Am did his thing with questions and answers and took us on a journey, and I literally did the same thing. I thought that was dope. Even in his music, the same thing. Like, there's always been something very synchronistic about this group. So, very appreciative of it.
Wait till you hear my piece that I wrote in the same right about now as Am. He read his and then I read mine, and it was like, whoa, how is this happening? And you know, there is, you've said it before that you're coming to the group and something I'm saying, you've been thinking. The last right about now, Victoria was saying stuff, and that had literally been my thought process for the whole week. Everything that she was saying. Cynthonia and I regularly are in sync. When I watched her promo, I was like, Cynthonia, because it was everything I was going to say. I was like, why? This is what happens when you go last. You know, and even what I was saying in his piece about time, for myself, that's been big, just realizing how, and you mentioned it, Adriana, a moment ago, about it's a concept I've always struggled with, this whole thing that time is relative and it's not linear and it's not real, and we've got all these things happen, they're all happening at the same moment. And Omae talking about being present in her promo, and things like the synchronicities that happen between us, for me, are examples of the veil being pulled back.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was gonna say also, I do this. I've told Mom so many times that she does this to me all the time. That like I'll be like throughout the day thinking about a bunch of things. I'll be on the bus thinking, and then I'll come home and go to talk to Mom about something, and then she'll bring up something I've literally been thinking about all day, and I'm like, I was thinking about that. And it is really weird that how when you're like connected with people in like a spiritual way, you can kind of do that, because my friends do it as well. Like I'll be thinking something, they'll say it before I say it. I do it with my sister a lot. Like we'll say some like the exact same thing at the same time in the same like tone. And it is really like, yeah, that spiritual connection, how yeah, it can show you that it's not all how it seems, how yeah, you're crazy.
Without taking the conversation somewhere else, because I know that it can go there, I will just say we are in a time period where people aren't realizing just how spiritual things are getting. And those that are getting it and are tapping in are reaping the benefits of that. Those that aren't are reaping the consequences. It's just truly a beautiful but complex thing to see, for sure.
Well said.
It reminds me of oneness, what Omae was talking about, just being able to finish someone's sentence or having something brought up that you were thinking about throughout the day. Oneness really jumped out to me to say that.
Yeah, because it is the way it is, and then we've been programmed out of it. So it's like what Omae said about your sisters, like me and my older sister particularly, when we were younger, used to always say things at the same time. We've gone out separately shopping and come back and bought the same items, you know, and it is that, it's the telepathy thing as well. You know, these are actually natural things, but like Adriana's piece demonstrated, there's an abundance of distractions, you know, to take us away from that. And I think people that live more naturally or in more indigenous cultures, it's not a big light bulb moment for them. It's just life. It's like drinking water or walking down the road or walking, you know, going for a walk or climbing a tree. It's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It only seems like this big thing for us because we've been led down a road so hard to not believe it, you know. So that was brilliant. All right, so
Very much.
Sorry, say that again, my dear.
Oh, you can go ahead. I was just saying that it's been buried and now it's being unearthed, for lack of a better word.
And the spiritual path, you know, when you're doing this work, you and I have talked about this. You got to be steadfast and you got to trust in the Most High, because the more your eyes open and your eye opens, the more, like, I've had many moments where I'm like in my house, like, are you for real? Like, nah. And I just sit and I laugh to myself, like, this is some joke thing, because it's so obvious that, like, there's other things that are going on, you know. But again, I think, like some people say, Dr. B says it a lot, that some things aren't to be spoken. And I think we know that intuitively as well, that you have some experiences, spiritual experiences, that are just for you. You don't share them. So we're going to move on.